Hello, namaste. Yes, somebody was asking me to do commentary on the major Upanishads. So I'm going to sit here and try to get through this one, Isha, since it's the shortest one, because my daughter's on her way over to go to lunch and a movie. So that will be nice to see her while I'm here in Seattle. So let's see if we can get through this before she shows up. Okay. It says, in the heart of all things, of whatever there is in the universe, dwells the Lord. So you can say the Lord, or you can say this Pada Brahman, you can say this which is that unchanging absolute, okay, 0 point balance, however you want to say it, that's what's pointing to there. He alone is the reality, okay. The reality is that which is unchanging. Okay, the rest of it, the dualistic realm that runs around all of this thing, is forever in flux and changing. Okay, so what is reality is that which is unchanging. Okay, it says, wherefore, renouncing vain appearances, rejoice in him, covet no man's wealth. Okay, you don't need to look at what else somebody else has. Find that which is eternal, okay? Find that which is eternal. Quit looking at all the drama in the outside world. And this is what Nisargadatta was trying to tell this guy from the UK when he came to visit him. You know, you're chasing all the things of duality. You're chasing all of these things that have to do with the I am, with the, you know, with the me, okay? All these externals, you keep chasing it. Stop chasing the externals, okay? Stop chasing them. First come to the I am and then go beyond it, okay? Then go beyond it. So let's see what it says. Well, may he be content to live 100 years who acts without attachment, who works his work with earnestness but without desire, not yearning for its fruit, he and he alone. So what is this talking about? Not being after the fruits of your labor, okay? One does their sadhana, or their what one does in the world, okay, as their seva. Their seva to humanity. You do your work and you're not looking for, oh, I need a promotion, I hope I get this, I hope I get that. Okay, one just does what's in the moment to do. Not attaching, not clinging to it, and not pushing it away. Okay, one just acts in the world without these attachments to it, without clinging to it, without pushing it away. Let it become your seva. Okay, let's continue forward. Worlds are without suns, covered up with darkness. To these after death go the ignorant slayers of the self. Okay, a slayer of the self talks about one that's within ego. I'm the doer. I'm the doer. Okay, they are the ones that are in darkness. They do not recognize that all comes from this primary is. Okay, so they are in darkness and they remain in darkness when they leave the form. Attached to whatever drama it is they are, their karma comes back, and that they will have to face when they leave the form. Okay? Let's continue forward. The self is one. Okay. Now, when it says the self is one, they talk about self with the capital S. They're talking about that is, not self as persona, not self as the first projection of I am. Okay, the first projection out of self is I am. Okay, and then from I am comes the rest of the constructs. But, okay, so it says unmoving, it moves swifter than thought. Okay, it's prior to thought. That self, that eternal is prior to thought. Therefore, it's faster. That's why I said it's the light beyond lights. It's more brilliant than the lights. Okay, it's prior to. Okay. The senses do not overtake it, for always it goes before. It is the pregnant void of all that will come into existence. It is paramount to what comes into existence. Okay, what comes into existence is at a lower level than what this paramount is. Okay. It says, remaining still, it outstrips all that run. Without the self, there is no life. It's the life of all life and the death of all death. This is why everything deconstructs in realization. It's what gives life to everything. Okay? It's faster than whatever can go because it eternally is. It's unchanging, unmoving. Okay, and the rest of it happens around it, within it, through it, but is untouched. It's untouched by any of that. Okay. To the ignorant, the self appears to move, yet it moves not. Okay. Again, it has to do with consciousness. People think the self, and they think of it's the I am projection. The I am projection that is attached to form, etc. But it's talking about what's prior to that. That consciousness of that unchanging is, which is unborn and does not die. Okay? That which is prior. Okay. From the ignorant, it is far distant. Yet it is near. Okay? It is within all and is without all. Okay? It's so close, like I said, you could have never been separated from it. Some people are looking for God. I have to find God. Oh my God, I'm so separate. No, it's right there. It can't be anywhere else, or else there would be no life. There would be no energy. It is at paramount. It is that bindu point in every atom, that bindu point within every atom that gives it all the potentiality to do whatever it's doing. Okay. He who sees all beings in the self and the self in all beings hates none. Exactly. There can be no hate when you get to this point. You can see ignorance. You can see fallacy. Okay? You can have compassion on that. You can try to awaken that. But there is no hate because you know that it's in ignorance. But in the midst of that ignorance, there is that point of light eventually that can be found. Okay? There is that eternal is at the heart of all. Okay? To the illumined soul, the self is all. For him who sees everywhere oneness, how can there be delusion or grief? Okay, one knows that everyone in the end is free. You're liberated in one sense always, but you're liberated enough that you can be in bondage through your own actions, through your own mind, through your own whatever skew thing that one has going. They create their own bondage. Okay, so let's continue forward. The self is everywhere. Bright, he is bodiless, without scar of imperfection, without bone, without flesh, pure, untouched by evil. Exactly. No matter what it runs through, no matter how heinous something is, it does not touch that pure, undivided is. Okay. So let's continue forward. The seer, the thinker, the one who is above all, the self-existent, He it is that has established perfect order among objects and beings from beginningless times. Exactly. That's why I said when everything deconstructs, one understands why karma is in place, how it has to be in place because of the perfection of what is, what this is. It keeps the laws of the universe in place just by its very nature. Okay, let's continue forward. To darkness they are doomed, who devote themselves only to life in the world, and to a greater darkness they who devote themselves only to meditation. Okay, it's not about just going within and meditation and trying to be in some ozones, whatever. Okay. One has to, again, encounter and see what's there and what's not. Okay, to break through to what is prior to. Okay, life in the world alone leads to one result. Meditation alone leads to another. So have we heard from the wise. They who devote themselves both to life in the world and to meditation by life in the world overcome death, and by meditation achieve immortality. Okay, again, this is why I keep saying you have to do your practice in the midst of life. Tantra means you're bringing everything into your practice in the midst of life. Okay? So that's the way to progress. Okay? You are coming to a point of meditation, and again, when everything deconstructs, one is in a sahaj state where the mind is still. It's in meditation all the time. It's not something that one has to do. There is no point of a constructed me that tries to hold on to that quietude. It just is what it is. Okay, so one is in a permanent, they would say a permanent state of meditation. Okay, so let's continue forward. The face of truth is hidden by thy golden orb, O sun. That do you remove in order that I, who am devoted to truth, may behold its glory. Okay, so again, it's beyond, people think they see this grand light when you're doing meditation. And they go into this light, and it's self-effulgent, okay, in its brilliance. But one goes beyond that. Like I said, it's the light beyond lights. It's that which is beyond the perceptible eyes and the five senses. It's not seen with the five senses. If you're seeing a bright light, that's not it. Okay, you're still in the five senses. You're still in the divisionary realm. Okay. When all deconstructs, there's just simply pure awareness. Pure awareness. And the things of the world are not being seen in that moment, okay? You're not experiencing it through the five senses as persona. All of that is gone in that moment, and there is just simply awareness of this divine is that's never been born, never died, and one understands in that moment this is what is at the center of all creation. Okay, I've never been born, I've never died, I'm all the things one thought one is in that moment are at an end. That illusion and that delusion that one is held to for lifetimes is broken. Okay, it's finished. It's gone. And if one has done the path correctly and doesn't try to construct back into a conceptualized form, that realization will remain. If one comes out and then tries to make sense of it and the mind starts moving again, then they are at that point only having had an experience, and they again go back into a persona constriction of separation again. Okay, so let's go forward. O nourisher, only seer, controller of all, O illuminating sun, foundation of life for all creatures, withhold your light, gather together your rays. May I behold through your grace the most blessed form, the being that dwells therein, even that being am I. Okay, again, it's beyond that construct of the first expression, which is I am. In reading this, you would think they were talking about that I am. Well, first one comes to see the I am, that it just simply is. But there's something, again, beyond the I am, and this is what this is pointing to. Okay, we want to go past Brahma, which is creating, into Brahman, Pada Brahman, which is that energy of singular is that has no form. Okay, that's spirit, that's beyond form, beyond any of these projections. Okay. Let my life now merge in the all-pervading life. Ashes are my body's end. Om. O mind, remember Brahman. O mind, remember your past deeds. Remember Brahman. Remember your past deeds. Okay. O Agni. O fire, lead us to felicity. You knowest all our deeds. Preserve us from the deceitful attraction of sin. To you we offer our salutations again and yet again. Okay, so this is pointing towards the path to discover what is prior to form. This is a sincere devotee looking for the way, okay? And the way is, to have the Kundalini awaken. It brings up all these things from the subconscious mind to be seen for what they are and what they're not. It takes observation. It takes doing seva without attachment. Okay, without looking for the things of the world. I want the things of the world. I want this, I want that. I need to have all these things to make myself secure. It's about letting go of that security. Okay, going beyond that I am, Some people say, oh, it's okay. I want to go to that I am to know that that's present and that's, that's got something, but to go beyond that. There is no moksha, liberation, unless one goes beyond that construct of I am. Okay. One sees the yantras. Okay, and if you look at the yantras, you see all of these energetic points that connect, and they go outward from that singular point, that bindu point. One has to go back through that yantra into that bindu point, into that still. Okay. Or one has to go into that temple and go into that linga. Understand the linga. If you go into the temples in Khajuraho, the tantric temples in Khajuraho, okay, when you start standing on the steps and you look out, you see all the world. And as one progresses back into the temple, one leaves that existence. On the outside temple are all the things of daily life. Marriages, this and that, sex, all the stuff that's happening, okay? But one goes into the temple, and the further one gets into the temple, the more quiet it becomes. The more one is receding from that interaction with that divisionary world until one reaches the inner sanctum. Okay. Until one reaches the inner sanctum where one comes upon the linga. Okay. And this represents the path. One has to let go of the things of the world and has to come deeper and deeper into letting go. Okay. Into finding out what is that unchanging reality. Okay. And when one enters that, one understands what these things are representing. these ideas, when you go to Khajuraho and the guys that are doing the tours, they don't understand that. They don't understand what Khajuraho is. You look at Khajuraho and it all has to do with how the universe is put together, the dynamics of the numerology that's in place with all of these things. There's so much there. But unfortunately, they've lost the knowledge of what it is. People giving the tours are just, they don't understand any of it anyway. But again, it represents the path. You stand on the thing, you're looking outwards, and when you go into the temple, you're receding back into that quietude until one reaches the reality of what is in place. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead, I think, and close this out. Again, it's such a different experience when one lives in India versus one's ideas about India. when one is actually taking sannyas and living in a hut, and you have a cobra coming through, and you keep the fires going, which are the dhuni. You have the dhuni, and you're doing all of these things that represent Shiva. The fires represent Shiva, okay? And you're actually living the life of a sannyas, a sadhvi, or if you're a male, a sadhu, okay? And you're living that life. You're living in a kutia, in a hut. You're bathing in the Ganges in the morning. And let me tell you, the Ganges is ice cold. It's water when you're living in Rishikesh or further north. Okay, the water is extremely cold because it's being melted from the ice caps, and it comes down from the Himalayas. Okay, if you've never seen the start of where the Ganges begins, you should see that. It's a very interesting thing. You see this water coming out of these rocks, just streaming, looking as if it's coming from nowhere. It's amazing. Okay, so many things there to see up in the Himalayas. So many things to do. You go to Darjeeling, you go to Dharamsala, you go to south, you go to, I've been all over India from the south to the north, from Darjeeling, Dharamsala, down to Goa, down to Tiruvannamalai, to, Tamil, to some of the villages out there that had never seen a white face before. Now that's an experience. When you go there, they're looking at you like you're from another planet. I mean, just they'll surround the huts where you're at and just peering in like, oh my God, it's an experience. Okay. Or going to, going to Bengal and Bengali and seeing the black holes of Calcutta and visiting the Kali Mandirs there. Or going down south and visiting the pujaris for the Sankacharya, of the south. And going into those temples and, speaking with all the pujaris there. Okay. So between the south and the north, there's a lot of differences in India. But again, unfortunately, places like Rishikesh that used to be the home of the rishis and the seers, now it's become a big marketplace. All of the ashrams have become very political. Really, one needs to do the practice on their own, away from those types of institutions, because they are they're geared to more, I'd say, I have to say more entertainment type stuff. Yeah, one really has to do the practice alone. It's an internal journey. And like I said, it doesn't happen overnight. I lived many years in India, but this was going way, way before I went to India. This was starting when I was very young. From a very young age, I was questioning. Okay, Kundalini started when I was maybe 19 or 20 and didn't complete until I was 49. Okay, it completed in India. It began in an esoteric Christian order in the US. Okay, and the journey there was very interesting. It was a very long journey. Okay, but I will leave this here for now. Namaste. I hope you've enjoyed the Isha. It's, like I said, the shortest one of the Upanishads, but hopefully you've enjoyed the commentary here about that. Namaste. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.